Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's talk about that moment. That moment you open your monthly AWS bill and your heart just kind of sinks. If that sounds at all familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive into the absolute first step to taming that cloud spend, and that is simply gaining visibility. Because, as you're about to see, the number one rule of cost control is actually pretty simple. This right here is the whole game. It's the one truth that everything else is built on. I mean, you can have the most brilliant engineers in the world, the tightest budget, but if your cloud costs are just one big black box, you're flying blind. You're just guessing. And today, we're gonna fix that. Right now, you might be living on the left side of the screen, in a state of what I call cost chaos. That's when you get one giant, terrifying number at the end of the month, and the blame game begins. Our goal is to get you over to the right side, to cost clarity. A world where you see costs broken down by team, where ownership is crystal clear, and where your decisions are driven by actual data, not just gut feelings. This explainer, well, it's the bridge to get you from one side to the other. All right, so let's start by digging into the problem that so many organizations face. We call it the black box bill. And its main symptom? A whole lot of pain and confusion. Yep, this is what it feels like. Just one giant, scary number. It lands in an inbox somewhere. Finance immediately wants to know, hey, why did the bill jump 20% this month? And engineering has to just shrug because, honestly, how would they know? They can't see what service or team or feature is driving the cost. It's the perfect recipe for friction and, frankly, just wasting money. I bet that sounds familiar to a few of you. But okay, enough with the doom and gloom. Here is the really good news. There is a powerful, totally built-in AWS tool to completely dismantle this black box. We are going to shine a massive spotlight on our spending using one of the simplest concepts in all of cloud computing: tags. So what even is a tag? Honestly, it is incredibly simple. Think of it like a digital sticky note. It's just a label, a little piece of metadata that you attach to any AWS resource, an EC2 instance, an S3 bucket, you name it. It has two parts: a key, which is like the category, and a value, which is the specific identifier. That's it. But trust me, these simple little labels are the foundation for absolutely everything. Now, you could go crazy and tag all sorts of things, but to get started, we recommend focusing on what we call the 4 pillars. Think of these as your non-negotiables, the absolute must-haves. First, environment. Is this for production, development, or staging? Then, owner. Which person or team is responsible for this? Application. What project or service does this resource belong to? And finally, cost center, which connects it directly to a finance department budget. Getting just these 4 tags on every new resource should be your number one goal. So getting the tags in place is a great first step, but that's just the beginning. The real magic, the whole reason we're doing this, is what happens when you start using that data to make much, much smarter decisions. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Cheese, values, labels. But how do these little sticky notes actually transform that one big, scary number into something useful? And boom! This is the after picture. This is what you get. By simply activating your application tag in the billing console, that single scary number suddenly transforms into a beautiful, meaningful chart just like this one. You can now see, plain as day, that your web app front end is driving 45% of the cost, the data pipeline is 30%. All of a sudden, you're not guessing anymore. You're having a real, data-driven conversation. And you know the best part? You don't need some fancy, expensive third-party tool to do this. A consistent tagging strategy unlocks the full power of the services that are already built into AWS. AWS Cost Explorer is what can generate those awesome graphs we just saw. And for the real data nerds, you've got the Cost and Usage Reports, or CURE, which give you all the raw, granular data for deep dive analysis. Tags are literally the key that turns all these tools on. Now, getting this visibility has a huge effect, not just on your bill, but on your company's entire culture. It lets you create a really powerful system that drives true accountability. And that system is called Showback, or, for more mature organizations, Chargeback. Showback is simple. You just show each team a report of what they spent. Chargeback goes a step further and actually allocates those costs to that team's specific budget. But here's the catch. You can't do either of these things unless you can accurately attribute costs, which, of course, comes right back to your tags. And this is the critical point. This is the psychological shift. When a development team sees a dashboard with their name on it, showing them exactly how much their cool new feature is costing to run in production, their behavior changes. They start asking the right questions. Hey, do we still need this S3 bucket? Can we maybe use a smaller instance type here? You decentralize the ownership of cost, and you empower your engineers to make smarter financial decisions all on their own.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually get started? Let's break it down into 3 simple, actionable steps you can literally take today.
Now, before you write a single script or click a single button in the AWS console, you have to do this first. And listen, this isn't really a technical problem, it's a people and process problem. You need to create a simple, clear tagging policy that everybody in the organization agrees to. And here's your roadmap. It's that simple. First, define the policy. Don't overcomplicate it. Just start with those 4 pillars we talked about. Second, communicate that policy to every single person who touches AWS. Engineers, managers, finance, get their buy-in. And third, and this is key, just focus on the future. Mandate that all new resources from this day forward must have the required tags. You can clean up the past later. The most important thing is to build the right habit now. And that brings us to the end. This journey from cost chaos to cost clarity is one of the most empowering things you can do for your organization. It's about replacing fear with facts and swapping guesswork for strategy. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What forgotten resources, oversized instances, or incredible optimization opportunities are hiding in your cloud bill right now?